Welcome back. As I said in my previous video, this time we're going to focus on how the shield is affected by latency. Normally someone wouldn't think that there's any special way to aim the shield compared to regular weapons, but there is. Something that I've said since Modern Warfare 2 was that shielders feel lag twice as hard as everyone else, and I'll explain why that is. Hopefully you'll gain a deeper understanding and appreciation for the riot shield and dedicated riot shielders. If you saw my last video, you're already aware of the concept that we all see each other at a delay. When you see an enemy running on your TV, on his TV, he's actually way ahead of that. And likewise, when you're running, you can imagine a sort of ghost constantly trailing behind you. That is the person that enemies see. So let's put this in the context of an actual encounter in the game. This is you from a top-down perspective, and over here is an enemy you see running north. That is the guy you see, but in front of him is that same enemy where he actually is according to his screen. That's where he sees himself. Now it would be pretty unfair of the game to make you have to shoot at where enemies actually are. I mean, after all, you can't see where he actually is. You'd have to lead your shots to some imaginary spot leading in front of the character you normally see. And that would be some pretty nasty bullshit. Because someone with like crappy latency, his real target would be way out in front. It'd be unplayable. So to make things fair, the game lets you shoot straight at this trailing after image that you do see. If you see yourself shoot at what you see, it gets shot. So let's change this up a little bit here. Let's put a corner here. And now the enemy saw himself run around hard cover. But again, you don't have to shoot at where the enemy actually is. You just have to shoot at this trailing after image that you do see. You saw yourself shoot him before you ran around the corner, and therefore he gets shot. He gets hurt, his screen flashes red, and plus he gets mad because he's sure that he was already behind cover when he got shot. The shooting player didn't have to compensate for lag, he just had to shoot straight at this after image that he saw. But when you're the defending player in this situation, when you're this guy, you do have to take lag into consideration. As you can imagine, the target that enemies will be shooting at isn't actually you, it's this damn trailing ghost behind you. So in this case, you feel the lag. Because it doesn't matter that you saw yourself behind cover, it matters that the enemy player didn't. And that brings us to the shield. This time, the guy on the right has a shield, and instead of running north, he's turning the shield towards the enemy. But the same thing that happened in the example with the corner also happens here. The shielder here is already facing the enemy, but that delay means that the shooting player hasn't seen that yet. To the shooting player, the shield is still facing this way. The shooting player sees himself shoot at the shielder's kidneys, and so the shielder gets hurt, and his screen goes red even though he saw himself behind the shield already. The shielder therefore feels the lag. He must manually compensate for the lag by turning towards the enemy earlier than he thinks he should. The shielder is being seen at a delay by his enemies, so a good shielder has to compensate for this. So again, if you can picture an imaginary copy of yourself following your every action, except at a delay, that's the player you must use to defend against things that are happening right now. A good shielder must play as if he's defending with his trailing ghost. But as I said in the beginning, shielders feel lag twice as hard. And this is still only half of the story. Because if it isn't enough of a kick to the balls to have to compensate for how you are seen to the enemy, you still have to compensate for the delay at which we see enemies. So let's take a look at a common example here, getting circle strafed. Again, this is a top-down view. The guy on the bottom is you, and the guy above you is strafing to the right. You see him here, but he is actually already over here. Now, if you had a gun, you'd shoot straight at the person you see. End of story. but you don't have a gun. You have a shield. And it doesn't matter that you see yourself behind cover, it matters that he sees you behind cover. So you have to aim at where the enemy actually is, not where you see him. Earlier when I said that it would be pretty unfair if the game had to make you target an enemy's actual location, that is this. We shielders, with our brains, have to manually imagine where the enemy actually is and defend against that now. We have to compensate for the lag of things that we see. Now this might seem like the same thing that I explained earlier, with you having to turn your shield early towards an enemy because he sees you at a delay, but it's not the same thing. It's a slightly different kind of lag. In the first example was lag from being seen at a delay, and in this example, this is lag from seeing at a delay. And if you don't believe me that they're different, take a look at this example again. The enemy is circle strafing, and you already led with the shield so that you're pointing at where the enemy actually is. Now if you're thinking this is the correct way to defend, you're wrong. Dead wrong. Remember that this example is still only half of the compensation. We're compensating for how we see at a delay, but you forgot that we also have to compensate for being seen at a delay. So check this out. You already turned to be facing where he actually is, but you forgot that he also sees you at a delay. So he doesn't see your shield here, he sees your shield over here. Now to prevent this from happening, you have to predict where an enemy will be twice as far into the future. You should be pointing your shield here towards where the enemy will be twice as far into the future of what you see, so that when the enemy sees your delayed after image, your trailing ghost, it'll be pointing towards him. In other words, you have to predict where the enemy actually is, and you have to defend with your trailing ghost. So yeah, that's quite a kick to the balls to shielders. And this is what I mean by shielders feeling lag twice as hard as everyone else. So that pretty much covers this topic. If you're a shielder, I hope that this has helped you understand the phenomena, or some of the phenomena surrounding your gameplay. You know why you have to lead enemies with a shield so damn far. And if you're a shielder who didn't know that you had to lead enemies, well, now you know. Better late than never, no? And if you're not a shielder, I hope you can appreciate dedicated shielders just a little bit more, especially the ones that are really good at it. Anyway, that's it for this video. Join me next time when I'll explain what lag compensation is. All the things that lag compensation actually, truly, really is, and all the imaginary stuff that it is not. Alright, thank you for watching. Join me next time.